Welcome back to the channel. This is your host, table4ONE, with another Don't Let It Get Lost in the Shuffle, this time for Immortals Fenyx Rising. This 2020 title plays as if Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Zelda Breath of the Wild merged together into one title, which in 2023 I feel like there's still enough for me to talk about here on my channel. Speaking of that, table4ONE Gaming does drop weekly Monday through Friday. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, and I hope you enjoy the following. This Ubisoft title offers a wide range of different difficulty settings based on what type of gamer you are at your skill set. Immortals Fenyx Rising also offers a very generous HUD selection in your main menu, allowing you to have full HUD, medium HUD, and up to no HUD, even allowing you to go through and even customizing even further into that category in case if you want a in between those three main categories. And not that many games offer that, so that was a really nice touch here and a nice surprise to see with when playing around with your HUD preference. I'd say that the game has a decent character selection. You can be either male or female. It's definitely not a Sims. It's not a Cyberpunk. It's not a Skyrim. This game is designed just to give you a base character and to get you into the world. Because for this particular title, you're kind of here for the gameplay mechanic of it and not so much the fantasy of the RPG, but it's decent enough. So this game features very hack and slash style combat. I'd almost say the game kind of feels like a mobile gaming and more appropriate on handheld if you were on a Nintendo Switch, which I have played this game both on the PlayStation 5 and a Nintendo Switch. Both systems handle it very well. Obviously you get a little bit more graphic infidelity with the PS5, but since of the cartoony nature, it does still look and perform beautifully on handheld. But your sword is going to be dedicated to one button. It's going to be R1 if you're on the PS5, and it's just there's some weight to the combat, but it's very archaic, very airy, but it's still fun and engaging. So with R1 being your sword, the light attack, then R2 will be your heavy attack with a sword. Of course, all these weapons will be customizable and changeable from your character menu screen once you get past the opening prologue stage part of this title. Combat again will once again feel airy and archaic. But once you start playing around between your light attack and your heavy attack, and then here in a few seconds when the bow is introduced, the combat actually starts to grow a rhythm. So like I said, it's still fun and engaging. And finishing off the trio of the weapons is the bow, offering us range abilities. Now the bow has two functions. It can function as a primary bow, where you just aim and release an arrow, or you can do a sniper arrow, in which after the arrow is released from your bow, you are now the arrow itself, and you must navigate that arrow to help it reach its destination.
Keep that steady hand, little one, and you...
So health in this game is replenished by collecting these berries. You can also craft items to make health potions, but it's also a good idea to keep a bunch of those berries on hand. So in this particular case, when we fall and take some fall damage here, I can just do left on the D-pad and consume those berries and replenish my health. Stamina is also similar. You're going to collect these blue mushrooms, or you're going to craft stamina potions, but either way you'll have a stockpile of them available to you on the right D-pad, because everything in this game does cost stamina, which is the clone aspect of Zelda Breath of the Wild. But the unique thing about this game is while you're climbing and it's depleting, unlike Zelda, you can replenish your stamina bar as long as you have inventory on your right D-pad. So we'll start consuming the blue mushrooms, and as you can see, I can start replenishing that stamina bar that allows me to finish my climb to get to the top. Traversal in this title is actually fun. There's two primary ways of traversing. You can either use your wings that are provided to you, and once you activate your wings, you will glide to your location. Of course, that does have the cost of stamina on your bar, as you can see. And the other option is on horseback, or in this case, deer back. Now, this game does offer a lot of different mounts. It's up to you to go to explore this open world and find and tame these different mounts. And so you could be riding on horseback or riding on a deer. And to do so is just once the animal is tamed, you can select it from your animal inventory, and then just holding triangle, your mount will appear in front of you. So one of the fun aspects of this title that caught me off guard are all the puzzles and trials that this game throws at you. Similar to games like God of War that offer puzzles within their arenas to progress, so does Immortals Fenyx Rising. There's always a mini trial that you can come across, and if you do so, then you'll earn trinkets. Environmental puzzles are fun and challenging side objectives that you'll come across throughout the world of Immortal Fenyx Rising. They are worth your time once you figure out the solution to that puzzle in question, as the reward is well worth your time and effort. After completing the last piece of the puzzle here, we'll unlock this chest, which is in this ruined house before us. So taking the time to stop to solve this environmental puzzle, you can see how potential players could miss out on good loot, which they wouldn't know where to find elsewhere. So in this particular chest, we got a new headdress, the head of a lion. Now what is also nice is if you want to keep the stats of the item you just found, but you don't want the visual of wearing it, you can unequip it while keeping the perks, just like with Hogwarts Legacy, if you will. Before I ever purchased this title, the arena puzzles and how heavily they're covered in reviews is the one thing that kept me back from initially jumping into this title. But once I actually did decide to play this title and give it a try, I was pleasantly surprised to see the pacing of these puzzle arenas. They're actually quite fun and engaging, and they range with all different levels of difficulties, ranging from a few seconds to I've had some instances where some of these may have cost me a couple minutes just to think about it from a different perspective to figure out how to get past it. Now, obviously, right on the nose, this is the most ripped off clone part of Immortals in regards to Zelda Breath of the Wild. Obviously, Assassin's Creed Odyssey never had any of this type of stuff, and this is definitely here just to meet that check mark for, yep, we want a clone. But they are scattered throughout this game, and they are used to get your main staple pieces of armor and weapons and your wings, and how they handle it is good. So my overall thoughts on this title is I would actually recommend it. I do think that, up front, the cons can be the humor is very in your face, and for me personally, it doesn't land most of the time. I understand with this cartoony nature of the game's visuals, and then the childlike sense of humor with the two gods narrating your whole journey the whole time. That can grind on you from time to time, but The game itself, for being a cartoonish style game, a Zelda knockoff, it is actually rather beautiful.